Hi, this is Koiro with another video, and this time I will promise you it will be kind of short. This is the third and last installment in the Commodore 1802 monitor series, and we do come to a good conclusion on this, and it's quite the easy task in this last episode. I think we do have to see what we are up against, but at least I got some switches in the mail, and that's where we start. Just let the fun begin. Hi folks, this is the switch that was in the monitor, and it's a kind of switch that is called ME5A, and there are different versions of this. Some you can solder direct to the PCB, some have solder ears like this, some have some extra contacts down here, but they're almost always shaped like this. And it's a company that's called Pre or something that has made all these switches, and I don't know if the switches you find now on the net is produced by the same company or not. But I did receive the switches I ordered over the internet, and I ordered 4 of these because I do have some other monitors I need to fix. And they are not marked with Pre. They don't have the stamps on top that tells you what kind of power draw they are made for. The switch, it feels kind of solid. You know, this one can't stand pushed, but this one, it seems to work okay. It has the same solder ear contacts down here, and it does have this additional switch block here. As you can see, when this pushes down, it makes contacts between these, and this should be glued on, but I won't be using this, so maybe I just glue this shut. And it does have a similar but not totally similar plastic piece, and you can see this actually broke off. I might use the original from one of these, or I might just use the next switch in line here. So the first one actually broke together. That tells me that this is probably not the best quality. But these kind of breakers are probably safe enough. They do make solid contacts, and I do hope that they have a good material inside to do the switching. Some kind of bronze or something, hopefully. But just let's see. These switches don't draw that amount of current anywhere, especially not in a small monitor. I did order some other switches too, and these I probably also will get to fit. And these are a bit higher power draw than what was marked on the original switch here. These are kind of 3 and 6 amps. No, 8 or 4 amps, I mean, sorry. So this is a switch that has a bit higher push, and they also higher quality. And I can use this with some slight modifications to the fastening. I have to do something with the screws and stuff. So we have to see. If this seems a bit too flimsy, we might do this kind of switch instead. So I will now go out to the shed and try to see if I can mount this switch and get it soldered back in, to see if we can get a fully working monitor that we just can put together. Yes, and we are back in the shed again, and as I have got my switch for this monitor, I will try to mount that and see if we can get this back together. I will cut this here to make it easier, because then I can take all these 3 leads and separate them. Just like so. and I will have everything I need for the plug without moving around on this board. And as you remember, we just bodged this together and used some tape. So I'm going to try to fix this a bit better. And we can't take too much off these leads either, because I do think they are just barely long enough. But that should be okay. And by the way, I have almost 50 years of experience with dismantling lead this way, with either this kind of pliers, or I used a more plier that was common back in the day with a side cut. And I can say that I don't destroy the wires by doing this. I never cut a single thread on the wires itself. Oops. But of course I do have proper tools for taking off the insulation, but it really seems like I could not be bothered to go inside to get it. Yeah, these should be okay. I'm just going to push them into the switch and solder them. And the switch I have here, and I actually discovered that this is just when you push this switch, this is just a pulse switch, so you can use this to start something with switch modes and other stuff that just needs a push button to start. And this we don't have to think about now. These are interchangeable, and as you remember, we started this by pushing these two together, so there should be one on each side. And when you do have solder ears like this, it's very important to stick the lead into the hole and bend it before you solder. Then you both will have mechanical strength and the strength from the solder to keep this from loosening up. And this is 220 volt we're speaking of here. And I will try to not use much heat on this, because this is still a cheap China knockoff of this switch, and I don't know how good the construction is inside. Yeah, I seem to have forgotten my glasses inside, so I might have to go inside to fix that. That should be good enough, and I will do the same on the other. Yeah, this switch seems a bit flimsier than the original one, but at least the soldering points or the soldering ears looks good enough, and they stick very well to solder. Now this should be good enough. And then it was just piecing this back together, and I did keep this as a reminder, but I did not notice how this was placed sideways. And by that I mean if the soldering ears and the wires of the switch was coming out towards the plastic of the casing, or if it was coming towards the picture tube. But that we will manage to get the grip on. And as we saw, I just managed to break one of these, so I'm not very sure about the quality of that. And we also have to mount the LED, and we have the switch itself that should fit in this way, and have the LED somewhat like this. And this was just one. There is no PCB, so this is like so. It has to be. And this should be this way, so that means that the switch probably mounts either way, because there will be space enough to have the leads that way, and that's probably the most safe. And as I start to place the screws and the stuff for this front metal frame thing, I noticed that something is off, because when I try to tighten the screws here, you can actually see that there is a gap between the plastic and the metal sheet. And I didn't notice at first, but afterwards it gets pretty clear to me that there is a difference on this plastic, and that the plastic here is narrower than it was on the original plastic that was on the Switch from before. But that could be easily solvable by putting some kind of washer in between there, but as I had the original plastic, I went along and adapted that. And it does not completely fit, but it fits good enough for us to be able to fasten the screws, and that the Switch will stick kind of good. You can see here that the holes kind of get wider because this plastic is a bit bent when it comes to stand in the original track. Yeah, it's not an exact fit. And that is because this has some locking mechanism that is not present on this. And I also take these small pliers and cut it a bit wider so that it should fit even better. But this would be possible to do with the plastic that was mounted on the Switch that we bought too, but then with washers to make it straight to the Switch. And now it's a much better fit. The screw holes are narrower, and probably this will do to make this fit straight, and that the Switch goes straight to the hole in front of the case. I think I will just try it like so. Yes, and now we can see that the screws, they fit nice and even, and it's easy to fit them in. And you can also see that I remembered to put the soldering ears towards the plastic of the chassis and not towards the picture tube. And then it was this lead arrangement. Yeah, we have the lead here, and as the screw is in there, it has to be screwed the other way. It's probably this way, and then it's this screw here, like so, and then this probably should fit like so. Yeah, to mount it back into the case, this will be an awkward thing to film. I don't have a camera setup that will cover anything of that, so I just try to do as best as I can on that. And it should be these two plastic screws here that will keep this together. So I will just try to push this assembly in here and try to fit the screws. Yeah, and I had to change the screwdriver here. I need to find something with better magnetic condition, as these screws are not all iron alloys, so they don't stick good to the screwdriver. Yeah, that's one, and then I have the bottommost, and I will have to tilt this to actually be able to see them here. Even though this has a better magnet, the screw itself is not a very high iron content on it, it seems. But this time it works out much better, and I'm able to keep the screw from falling out until I'm able to start to screw it in to the plastic offsets that's keeping the Switch in the right position. It should be in there. It's probably not necessary for the workings of the monitor, but I of course will put back the cable ties that I have cut off. At least it will make things neater for the next guy that peeps inside this monitor. Hopefully I would have done such a good job that that won't be necessary, but who knows? And who knows how long this thing will live. It really depends on the picture tube, I think, or if you lose some of the irreplaceable components as the high voltage transformer or something. Yeah, and it does seems like the switch is working. I tested it just from the front, and this should slide in some fashion in a predetermined groove here in the plastic, like so, I suppose. This was sticking to the back plate when I was taking this the first time, so I'm really not sure how this goes. And I also need to take the power cord and have it where it should leave the building. Like so. And then it's about this one here for the LEDs, and these two here for the switch. Yeah, how this goes further back, I have to check on the back of the screen, because we have this here that should be mounted somewhere, and this should take the pressure of the power cord. Yeah, and I've checked now on the, I do think that this is meant to go somewhere here, and this was a screw from the bottom, because the power cord here is just leaving the building here. Ah, okay, so this should just slide in like so, and then there should be a screw that takes this to the bottom. Okay, but what screw is that? I do think it's a fairly thin one, maybe this one? Yeah, that probably is it. Like so. Sorry that you're not able to see this on film, but I only have this narrow base above my desk here, so it's not possible to raise the camera any further. But here you see that there are this sliding mechanism that we have to fit the PCB through, and that probably was why it stuck. You had this goo on the PCB and some goo in here, but I do think I will manage to squeeze this on. If I manage to get it on film, that's a totally different topic. And now the weight of the PCB is sagging it down, so I have to lift it and try to maneuver it into the grooves, and it's a bit of tidy work. And by the way, it's the camera lighting that shows all this gray here. It's by no means my natural color, at least as I remember it. Well, the PCB slides just fine. Yeah, the case seems to fit nice together, and I take that as a good sign. And this cable management thingy that sticks out to the back, I must be careful not to break it. Yeah, we take that afterwards. I have the 4 cabinet screws here. I just try to secure it so I can turn the case around. It's totally fine to put this on the screen because the bezel is sticking out more than the tube. Yeah, the last 2 screws that holds the back is easy to fit, and is a separate groove for the screwdriver to reach them. You can see here that the plastic feet of this screen is actually okay. They have not turned into some kind of goo that is not unusual on these plastic things. And I do have one more screw, and that's this one here. And so that really should be it for fitting this. And we will of course try to test this one final time with the signal from my C64. And if I take it in the topmost, it will probably be just the composite. And I have to fix this afterwards so that it gets street legal. And I turn on the C64. Oh, I got the mono settings. Yeah, as you can see, the picture is okay. It's a bit dark on these recordings and it's a terrible Moyer pattern, but that's my iPhone camera kicking in. So all in all, I'm very satisfied with how this monitor turned out. It has a good high quality picture with good light, so I'm satisfied with this. So I'm going to give this back now to its owner, who just handed me this for repair and recapping. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed the content. I would like some comments below if you like this kind of content, or if you like more highly technical content, or what you want to see on this channel. We are still struggling with our goal to reach 1,000 subscribers until the summer. So please hit like and subscribe if you want to be notified when we post new videos. So, see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.